that they look down on people who like to get it on, or they look at people like, oh my God, sex, ew. Oh my God, I'm so much better than you. No, because there's asexual people who will and have had sex and engaged in sexual relationships. I'm not personally one of them. I'm still a virgin, proud of it. But I just feel that's a big misconception. No one in the asexual community that I've met are looking down on other people who are sexually active and happy in their relationships. You do you, I do me. I'm not judging you. Hey, have 5 partners too. That's your relationship. It's not my business. I'm not looking down on you because you're sexually free, but I don't choose to engage in that.
The biggest misconception, I think, is, again, that there's something broken about you, that you went through a trauma or that you have, it's just medical, something like that.
Well, I think because people don't know about its existence, a lot of people still think it's a condition or a flaw, something to be fixed or solved. You have to take a pill for it or get your hormones checked, like all these different things. And you can't just exist, and you can just exist.
I think the biggest misconception, and I think it's because every time it's shown up really in movies or TV or whatever, asexuality means I'm not interested in anything sexual and I may as well be a robot. And I don't have feelings or attractions or wants or needs or desires, that I'm a robot.
I think the biggest misconception is that if you're asexual, you don't experience emotion. You somehow have been cut off from certain types of experiences that are like central to being human. And the idea that you don't have sexual attraction or what have you, especially like aromanticism as well, it can be difficult for people to understand. Oh, that doesn't mean that this is someone that's lesser than you. They're still a full person.
That we're really cold and robotic. And all the ace people I know are some of the warmest, most loving, caring people I know.
Biggest misconception is definitely just the maturity sort of part of it. Like I said, I mentioned before, there's a bit of the thing where people just don't understand what it is, but then they see you as sort of like void from the subject, not having an opinion on anything romantic or anything sexual, or not being able to sort of engage in those kind of discourses. And that's a huge misconception, that people see them again as sort of this immature child or this really picky person, or that you're just going to sort of grow out of this phase. And it's very rarely the case, and so people tend to just sort of discredit it as an orientation. Even within queer communities, it's sort of this separate thing, like, oh, you're ace, okay, but what else? Like, go on. Like, that's not necessarily the full identity that your spectrum is, and you still have to kind of then constantly sort of out and verify and give other reasons, as opposed to just being like, I'm ace and this is how I walk through the world. So
I think that there is a lot of confusion about the relationship between sexuality, romantic attraction, and libido, and that those 3 factors they're related to each other. And again, it's a part of individual unique experience that you kind of have to get to know the person and their experience, rather than like trying to understand asexuality as a whole.
That someone identifying as asexual does not want to have sex, which might be true, but it's about the attraction.
Yeah, and there's so many ace people out here that like have sex or even like having sex, and I think there's probably so many other people out here that are having sex that may be watching this and thinking, oh, maybe I am kind of under this ace umbrella, and like that this is kind of reflective of my own feelings on the matter.
But I wish people would see it as more of an orientation that describes sexual attraction, versus kind of jumping to the assumption that we're talking about libido, and that it automatically means that people don't experience sexual arousal, which is something completely different.
The biggest one, though, is that we're such a small community, because I don't think that we are. I think that because the spectrum is so big, that really we do encompass a lot of people, and often people that like don't necessarily realize that that's where they might fall, like, because I think that you can identify like however you feel comfortable, and like that is great, and like I would never force anyone to like identify as ace or anything, but like I think that they also might have like ace tendencies, but they don't realize it because of the society that we grow up in, where it's like they think that, oh, like, you guys are so small, you're only 1% of the population. It's like, oh, first of all, 1% isn't small, okay? That's like a lot of people. And second of all, like, it's not one thing, so like, why would you put us all in a box when there's so many different ways to be ace, and there's so many like wonderful umbrella like different parts of asexuality that like people just like don't remember or like choose to like not include because they're like, oh, well, that's not the same. And they're like, but like it kind of is. Like, I feel like if people really allowed themselves to like realize that and understand that and like accept that about the world, that we would, I don't know, our ranks would probably grow up just in people identifying as ace, because I feel like there's a lot of us and people just don't really allow themselves to think about that because of the society that we're in. So
You can support our short film about asexuality by contributing to our crowdfunding campaign through the link in our bio. Thank you.